Hi, this is Polly from thefitmumformula.com talking about portion sizes, because portion sizes is something I often get asked about, and people say to me, how much should I have of this? You know, what's a reasonable portion size of each food? Now, I know that there are portion guidelines given out there. Say the NHS like to use things like a deck of cards, your hand, a matchbox, that kind of thing. There are guidelines, but it seems that either that's not working for people or they're not satisfied with that those answers. So people come to me and they ask me, you know, what size portions of different foods should I have? Now, unfortunately, this is a little bit of how long is a piece of string question, because if you think about it, it totally depends on your goals, whether that's weight gain, weight loss, muscle gain, performance, whatever it is. Now, I'm assuming most people who follow me on social media are interested in losing weight, so I'll come on to that in a bit. But goals is your number is one thing. Your personal calorie needs is another. How many calories that you personally need to achieve those goals over the course of a day or a week, because it will balance out, obviously. And then how you like to spread out your meals. If you're going to be having 6 smaller meals, then the portions within those meals are going to be smaller than if you're just having 3 main meals, 3 larger meals. So it does depend on a lot of things. And that being said, people like to start somewhere and keep it simple. So what I like to say, because most people are coming to me for weight loss, one thing they really need to do is reduce the amount of calories they're eating. Now, obviously, if you're going hungry all the time, that's going to be really difficult. And also, most people who are not healthy and they've got not enough energy and they want to lose weight, they're probably not eating enough fruit and vegetables either. So when it comes to main meals, now I give actually, for my members, my Body Map members, they do get a template and they do get a lot more thorough guidelines on this kind of stuff. But one thing I can advise pretty much everybody who has a weight loss goal is, whatever the meal is, make sure that half of that plate is fruit or vegetables or salad, or fruit, because usually fruit will come with a breakfast. It'll be slightly smaller anyway. But say for your lunch and your evening meal, if you make half of your plate vegetables or salad, that's a really, really good place to start. And then even if somebody is not yet in that position, either because they're not ready for that amount of change, or because they don't yet have the knowledge to be able to implement slightly more complicated meals or start cooking, even if that meal was pie and chips, so long as the pie and chips only was allowed to fit onto half the plate, which probably means you're going to have to eat less than you normally would, and then you fill the other half a plate with vegetables, that's going to be a massive, massive improvement. So half a plate of salad or vegetables is a great place to start. Moving on from that, the next most important bit to get right is your protein. Now, most people don't eat enough protein. Protein is great, especially when you're losing weight. It helps to maintain your muscle mass, because remember, we want to lose fat, not muscle. So consuming enough protein is going to help with that. And also, it's the most filling macronutrient. It's really, really filling. And if you're eating loads of protein, you're more likely to be full, be satisfied, and so you're less likely to overeat in between meals or in between snacks. Which is going to be obviously go a long way to helping you reduce the amount of calories you're eating. So I aim for, after you've done your half a plate of salad or vegetables, you want at least a quarter of your plate to be protein. I'm not going to go into complicated, but there's so many different types of protein you can have out there, with meat, fish, eggs, all sorts of different things. So we're not going to go into too much detail today, because the possibilities are endless. But needless to say, if you can have at least a quarter of your plate, probably more likely a third of your plate, ideally, of protein, that'll mean that you're getting a decent amount. You're going to be sparing that muscle and making sure you stay full. And then that last little bit is going to be either carbohydrates, things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, things like that, or fats, things like avocados, olives, that kind of thing. Or it could be a mix of both. Now, how much you need your vegetables and your salad, you need your protein. How much carbohydrates or fat you then need around that is going to depend on your individuality. Now, that's where I cannot get any more specific, and it's going to have to be a case of play around with it and see what works for you. Some people do really well with not many carbs at all, or just carbs around their workouts. starchy carbs this is, because obviously vegetables have carbohydrates in them as well, but I'm talking about things like potatoes and rice here. With your starches, some people don't need so much starch, but they really need to have a bit of fat. They'll have pretty much all protein vegetables, but they'll put some butter on their vegetables. But then other people, they feel best when they don't need so much fat to feel really good. Everybody needs some, and everybody needs some starch, but some people don't need quite so much fat, but they really need those starchy carbohydrates, else they don't have any energy, they don't perform well in their workouts, they don't feel full. So that's where you've got to figure out between yourself. But the two most important things you need to think of, let's just to summarize here: half a plate of vegetables or salad. This is for a weight loss goal, remember. Half a plate of vegetables or salad, a quarter, maybe even a third of your plate of protein, and then the remainder of your plate, carbohydrates or fat, or a mix of both, depending on how you feel. Have a play around with it, see how you feel, see whether you get the results you're looking for in terms of weight loss, see how you're performing in your workouts, you still have enough energy, and go from there. If you're getting results and you're feeling good, great, stick with it. If you're not getting results or you're not feeling good, you need to tweak it. I hope that's helpful and that's given you a good place to start in terms of how to portion out your meals. That's Polly from thefitmumformula.com. Please do like, comment and subscribe on these videos, or subscribe on YouTube if you find them helpful, and please share them with anyone else you think you might find helpful. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.